Hello, hello. It's Holly Rustick here with Grant Writing and Funding. Really excited. We're, of course, on the podcast and on YouTube, and really excited to be here today with Dr. Ginny Blankenship. And she is the founder and lead strategist of Lightmaker Grants and Strategy. She's also in the Grant Professional Mentorship. And just, it's been so fun to be a part of your journey over the last couple of years and to see the way your business has changed and the way that you've really positioned yourself to grow your business and just to serve people and to grow that serving ability, right? So I love that so much. So welcome to the podcast, Ginny.
Thank
So good.
you.
Yeah. So excited for you to be here. All right, so we're gonna talk about things. And I was looking at some of your numbers, and I was like, oh man, overall you have secured over 178,000 in sales. You're just doing amazing. You're bringing in grants for your clients and really growing your business. So let's talk about you and your business a lot. A lot of people who listen to this show, I like to talk about the origin stories of people who come on the store or on the podcast and the YouTube, just to really so you can see wow, does this work for me? A lot of people are interested in grant writing. A lot of people are interested in hiring grant writers. Is this a good fit for me? Right? All of the things. So let's talk about you, Ginny. What got you into
Okay,
I did say doctor, you come from an academic background as well. So, but
I
let's talk
do.
about, yeah.
But I mean, no matter where you're coming from, no one sets out to be a grant writer, right? We all kind of fall into it somehow. We get shoved into it because we're volunteering for a cause that we believe in, or it's just part of our other regular job. And both of those things happened to me. So, like everyone else, I'm an accidental grant writer. My background is actually in education policy and research.
Mhm.
So, uh, let me back up before that even. I always knew that I wanted to be some kind of writer. I didn't know exactly what, but I wanted to do something that was for the greater good of something. And I happened to be really interested in education and how to get, equitable education opportunities to all kinds of kids from disadvantaged backgrounds. So that was just kind of a personal passion of mine. And I ended up getting my master's degree in English from the University of Virginia. And then from there, hopped over to Washington, D.C., and did a stint on Capitol Hill as their press secretary. So lots of policy and political advocacy kinds of jobs that all use lots of technical and persuasive writing skills. But I knew that that part was not for me, for my personality. So I really wanted to, get more into kind of working behind the scenes and raising money for different causes. So I did that in a variety of different roles in government agencies, K-12 schools, universities. Um, and the common denominator for all of that is I got to use my writing skills like my whole career. So if you're out there and you're majoring in English, I'm in solidarity with you. We still need good writers, and don't let anyone tell you that AI is the be all end all, because we need lots of good writers and good grant writers. So um, anyway, that's how I ended up in my niche, which
Wow.
is education and youth and child advocacy type programs, and also workforce development. And I resisted it at first because, when you're first starting a business, you're afraid that by picking a niche, you're going to really limit yourself to what you can do and who you can do it for. And you're kind of excited because you know all these things that you've picked up along the way. I can do strategic planning, and I can do, uh, mass mail marketing and email campaigns. You want to be available to whatever anyone needs. And I quickly learned that is not the way. And I learned it, in large part from you, Holly, is that you shouldn't be afraid to, uh, claim your special lane. And you don't have to have a doctorate. You don't have to be an expert. You just need to pick something that you feel like you're interested in and want to learn more about. And by doing that, you're going to attract a different kind of client that looks at you and says, I understand what they do, and that's exactly what I need. And then as you get into the work, you're not reinventing the wheel over and over again, trying to learn different subject areas. So
Yeah.
I work on education, but that's still a very broad field. So I've worked in early childhood education, school absenteeism, after school programs, summer programs, higher ed. There's still plenty to learn, but as you get more immersed in a subject area, you start to see funders' names over and over again
Yeah.
and think, okay, well, this is what, Charles Stewart Mott is really interested in after school programs, and the Walton Family Foundation is really interested in charter schools. So you really learn the landscape of funders uh, in that area, and that can really
Mhm.
set you apart from other people who are trying to know it all and do it all and be it all for everybody, and then that can really wear you out.
Yeah.
um, and sometimes you'll still need to take kind of random projects along the way. I know I still do. I have a client that is a mental health professional development provider. So I still do things that are, in line with my interests, but, not exactly in my niche. But the goal is, as I grow my business, I'm going to go deeper and deeper into my area of expertise, because
Mhm.
again, that's really what's going to set you apart.
I love
That
that so
that
much.
was a
And
very long answer to whatever your
no,
question
no,
was.
no, no. That was perfect.
I
That was
could talk
perfect.
about
And
this all day.
I know, right? And to your point, like I love how you talked about like your English background, like and going like education that way. And we do see a lot of people coming into grant writing. Not everybody, but I see a lot of people are like, okay, I did a degree in English, and it's kind of like, where do I go from here? And that might feel like I don't know. Some people they're like, okay, is that a soft skill? Is that this? Is that, you know what I mean? How is that really applicable to jobs? It's applicable to a lot of jobs, right? And writing is still needed.
Absolutely.
I love your point about like there's AI out there, but you still need to know how to write because writing is a process of the brain as well, right? Like when you're writing, you're having to process your thoughts. You're having to think, especially with grants, like how do you set things up and create outputs and outcomes and you're really thinking of strategy. So it is like you're not just copying some words, right? Like you having to think through what you write. And I think we're losing some of that to AI as well if people aren't using it properly as a tool, but they're using it more of like a brain, then it's like, oh
Right.
wow, you're losing that ability to think through or master a skill such as writing a grant. So, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be using AI, like there's certain times and places for it, but I love going into that
Agreed.
and saying, yeah, yeah. And even like you're talking about, because my background, okay, my degree first was liberal arts. I had associates in liberal
Hmm.
arts. Then I went to political science, right? And then I went to
Yes.
international political economics. What are you going to do with that? I don't know, but it set me up for like basically any type of position. But that's why I got into grant writing too, because my brain could think about big picture things and then like connect and then get into the granular, right? And I think even with you with policy, like that's so interesting that your background with policy and advocacy in a different way, but I'm sure that's helped you as a grant writer.
And I'm so pro liberal arts because it does prepare you to think. And
Yeah.
that's something we're losing a lot of too, is that people are not maybe as skilled at critical thinking as we could be.
Mhm.
So I would really encourage people to lean into mastering writing skills, and you do that
Mhm.
by reading a lot. And then if you're interested in something like grant writing, you can pick up the different strategies along the way. How to put together a budget and how to approach a funder, things like that you can learn. But get your writing skills down first.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that look on liberal arts. I was just on a panel the other day for the University of Guam on their like looking forward and how the university is operating. Cause I do think there's a lot of changes within higher ed too, right? So like looking at higher ed, how is that impacted? And to your point, that was the thing. It's like some people might not realize the beauty of liberal arts or higher education at this point in time. It's really, there's really like this look at, this move away towards crafts or trade, workforce, that sort of thing. And it's like, there is something beautiful though, that's so important to learning about different subjects you're interested in, and not just learning it to think, oh, this is going to be a job, this specific job for this thing. But like I took a while to figure it out. Like, what do I want to do? And even like you said, I just fell into grant writing. I was like, okay, this feels like a really good culmination of a lot of skills that I learned. And it's a cool path to pick up. But I could literally like jump in and do strategic planning, or I can jump in, and I've been an executive director at a nonprofit. Like, I can jump in because of the diversified kind of education and experience that I had as well, which is really cool. Anyways,
Absolutely.
I'm just like shouting out like higher ed still too. I think it's so important. Right. And then the work. So let's talk about your work in education and being a grant writer, especially in 2025, right? Like there's a lot going on with the Department of Education. There's a lot going on with that. Like, are you writing federal grants still? Are you writing foundation grants? Like, let's talk about that with your sector and cause area.
Uh, I am writing a National Science Foundation grant for a community college over on the East Coast. And
Mm-hmm.
in part because it happens to be one of the few grants that didn't get the rug pulled out underneath it, at
Mm-hmm.
least yet. Let's
Mm-hmm.
hope we make it to the deadline on October 2nd.
Yep. Yep.
But to, to be honest, I am doing mostly private foundation grants and corporate sponsorships with all of my clients right now. And if they have not pursued a federal grant already, let's put that on the back burner at least until
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that. We'll have to wait and see, but let's not spin our wheels on that if we don't, know that we have a really good chance of the grant even existing, much less being competitive at it. I do have a client that's been very deeply impacted by a lot of the federal grant cuts,
Mm-hmm.
and that puts the pressure on them and then on me, of course, to go out and not only raise a lot of money, but replace all the money that they just lost. Um, and it just speaks to really making sure that you have a diversified revenue stream for your organization. I know people know that, and sometimes it's easier said than done, but it's been a scary year for a lot of organizations, and I think it will eventually even out with the federal grants and then the trickle down to a lot of the state grants and contracts. We just have to hang in there and stay informed. There's a lot of great people to follow on LinkedIn and different organizations that are really, paying close attention to what's happening on Capitol Hill and how it impacts a lot of the organizations that we serve. Um, but yes, I
Mm-hmm.
mostly work on private foundation grants anyway, because that's my
Yeah.
background. And they're two totally different animals. A federal
Yep.
grant is a very, very different animal than a private foundation grant. And
Mm-hmm.
I do get a lot of inquiries from interested organizations who think they want to apply for a federal grant, but they're not ready at all to go through that process. And I mean, they don't know that it's sometimes, quite ridiculous, the hoops that you have to jump through for some of these proposals. It can
Mm-hmm.
take anywhere from 80 to 100 hours. You have,
Yep.
a 100-page application. Right now, I'm working on one that'll probably be 120. It's a lot of work. And also, you have to really understand what the management side of that is on the back end. If you get the money, be careful what you ask for, because it can totally change, uh, the mission and purpose and operations of your organization. So I
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of educating of people about what a federal grant really entails. And,
Yeah.
maybe that's not the best place to start out. Let's start out with some small community grants and grow that over a couple of years until some larger private foundation grants. And then once you've proven that you can raise that money and manage that money with your programs, then in a couple of years you'll be ready to go and you'll be able to
Mhm.
compete for some of those federal grants.
Yeah, and that's just speaks to the point of why it's so important to have somebody who's knowledgeable and talk to a grant writing consultant. Like it's so important because you're really looking at this from a big picture too. And because, as you mentioned, you have a niche area, you're able to really pay attention to what's going on in that area specifically. And know like, oh, I know this foundation really favors this and not that. Like, like kind of like the quirks of things as well. And I've always loved that too,
Yes.
right? Because it's like a lot of times I'll have clients and we'll be applying to the same foundation for multiple clients, and I'll be completely transparent about that, and they don't care. They're like, I don't care because I know you know what this grant is about, the grant.
Right.
So that's a very good edge to have. I mean, at one point I was like, okay, there's this one grant that's coming out and I'm only taking 5 clients and I'm going to be writing it, right? And they know like I've been writing it, I've also been a reviewer on that grant, like they know I know it inside and out, so those slots sell out. That's right. So
Yeah,
there's
I
like the
bet.
beauty of the niche because you really understand like and both sides, like you're writing both, right? Like you said, you have federal grants and you have foundation grants. So you're paying attention probably a lot to DOE, right? If that's your field, and
Mhm.
to other types of agencies that align with your cause area. Not to all the 26 grant making agencies, you probably have a few, right, that you lean into and really see what's going on. And then those foundations too in that niche and cause area. So you can really be on the pulse of that. And that takes time. That takes
It
building
does.
relationships, right? That's
Yes, that's what I
valuable.
was about to say too, is that a lot of the opportunities that I come across for my clients are because of relationships that either I have or my clients have. I have one client that is phenomenal about relationship building, and that's why we're so successful. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm very good at what I do, but you know, they win because they are not afraid to start those relationships early, and it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be time consuming, but they keep in touch with different program officers and foundation directors and let them know what they're doing and what they want to do, and they're not afraid to make big asks.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
relationship building piece is critical to this, and
Right.
that's another reason why you know, picking kind of a focus area makes it easier for you to do that. So you don't have to go to all the conferences and all the issue areas and know, all the associations. It can
Yeah.
be very overwhelming. And um, there's probably not going to be a lot of people in the country who specialize in exactly what you are able to do.
Right.
And again, you don't have to be an expert with 20 years of experience in a field to decide this is going to be my subject matter expertise that I'm going to own and really learn everything about it, and maybe get some volunteer experience in the local community in this area, and build connections that way. um, it makes it a lot easier to manage and makes you a lot more visible among the people who want to hire you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think even to your point, like let's even look at foundations, who are giving grants out. They're not just giving, like, you go to a foundation, they're usually not just giving to everybody, right? They're giving to like these specific cause areas, right? Things that they're passionate about because they have limited funds that they can give out too. So it's not like any organization everywhere, but they have specific, maybe it's geographic, maybe it's cause area, etc. As well. So like this idea of kind of getting into different cause areas isn't new in the funding world, and it is beneficial. And how many clients do you really need as well, right? Like as you're building your grant writing agency, you don't need 100 clients, so like,
Exactly.
right, so like how many, like for you, what's your ideal number of clients, Ginny?
uh 4 to 6,
Yeah,
depending.
4 to 6, a
i
handful, right?
i
Like,
had I had 6 in April and couldn't breathe. And then one rolled off, and then another one rolled on, and anyway I now have like 4.5. um
yeah.
But I'm also, but thanks to your program, I'm getting ready to hire some help finally, so I don't have to write all the grants all the time, all by myself. And then I can open it up to serve more people and,
Yeah,
give my grant writing team some experience and serve more people in the community. And
I
I'm,
love
I'm
that.
ready to go.
I love that. Yeah. So let's segue into that. Let's segue into how you're managing your business as you're growing your business. As you mentioned, yeah, you can serve up to 6 people by yourself, but guess what? You can't breathe, right? There is a financial and time limitation when you're just a freelancer, but you can still be a freelancer if you hire part-time support to help you, and you can still grow your revenue then without just growing your time as you're doing. So let's talk about, yeah, like what made you like
Yes.
decide to, I'm going to make that higher. I'm going to, like all of that.
It has taken me a long time to press go. I've thought about
Mhm.
it for about 6 months and realized, I can only do this amount of intense work by myself for so long.
Yeah.
And then I probably will end up burning out if I don't figure out a better way to manage a business. And that's what I'm trying to have, is I'm not just trying to be, a freelance person who works, X number. I get paid by the hour to do whatever you tell me to do. I want to be, a strategist that helps with long-term visionary thinking. And that looks a lot different. And that's the kind of business that I want. So I'm going to have to change the way I think about things and think about myself and learn to
Mhm.
let some things go. And that part is very hard for me because I've been doing this a long time, and I don't know how easy it will be, but I will get there. Um,
And you are
and
getting there. Like you're doing
I
it.
will get there. I will get there. But two things are really important, and one is kind of setting boundaries with your scope of work, which everyone learns the hard way the first year or so. I know I did. And the
Mhm.
second thing that's really been helpful to me is being very disciplined about tracking my time with
Yeah.
everything. So
Mhm.
this is every time I do QuickBooks, or I have a client phone call, or I work on a grant report, I track that, pretty much to the quarter hour every day in
Mhm.
what's it called? Toggle.
Mhm.
And it lets you analyze where all your time is really going. And sometimes it feels like you're doing a lot, but then you look at how much time you spent on sales and you realize, oh, that's why maybe nobody's calling me this quarter. Because I
Yeah,
was
you're like,
spending
actually, I've
way,
been thinking about it,
right,
but I only spent two
right.
hours.
Right,
Right.
right, right. If you're thinking about it all the time, but are you really doing it?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so tracking your time and really looking into the data on that helps you realize, how much time does it really take me to write a grant on average? In the
Mhm.
beginning, I had no idea. I didn't know how to set my scope of work, because I thought, well, maybe you would take me 30 hours for every grant. It doesn't. Some
Mhm.
people will tell you that. It doesn't. You'll get faster.
Yep.
Um, so that's one of the things that has helped me the most, and realize, if I could get help just with, two clients, then that frees up time for me to do more sales and more marketing and more networking in the community and things like that. Um, so yeah, it's
I
time.
love that. And that's one of the first steps we teach, right, in our part-time lean team method is like, you've got to understand where your time is going. You have to.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that you're doing that, because that's so important. And look at the knowledge that that's brought you is, okay, I might be having like, oh, why am I not getting sales? And there can be like a whole thing around that. But if you look back and you say, well, I spent an hour actually doing
Mhm.
it. Okay, now you have data, or now I know who to hire because now I know where my time is really going. And that is going to set up your team in such a better way than you thinking, oh, I need to hire someone for marketing right now, or I need to hire for maybe the wrong position, than actually offboarding the work that you have currently on your plate and knowing how much
Right.
time things take too. So if you hire somebody and you like, okay, on average, I know that takes me 5 to 7 hours to do. So I'm going to tell them, hey, 5 to 8 hours maybe, because I'm doing it really fast, right? So let's give them a little bit more of a range. But if they're taking 20 hours to do that, now I know what to address. Right now I know where to kind of pinpoint where those hours are going and how much things should really take realistically, instead of just
Right.
me assuming it takes a certain amount of time. So I love that you're doing that. And just like keeping on that inside the mentorship too, like, are there other things that have helped you specifically in your business this year as you're moving forward in hiring, or just other things in your business?
Oh my gosh. So many things. I've done the whole curriculum. So if you're in the program, sit down and do the curriculum before your time runs out, or you're going to regret it. But the biggest help for me, besides your coaching, is having relationships with other people who were in the Freelance Grant Writer Academy with me in year one, and now we're kind of alumni who rolled into the
Mhm.
mentorship program together this year. And I can say that I really consider a lot of these people my friends now. And if something were truly to happen, like if I had a surgery scheduled for tomorrow, that I have people I know and I trust that I could pick up the phone and say, hey, can you help me with this grant? And I wouldn't hesitate to work with them. So that's been a huge help for me the past 2 years, is that this can be a very isolating profession. A
Mhm.
lot of remote positions are, and I've been working in this room by myself since 2019, and sometimes that really gets to me. So I
Mhm.
have to be intentional about making sure that I'm keeping in touch with people and, getting out of the house and things. But honestly, the people that I've met in the mentorship program, I talk to them all the time.
I love
And
that.
if somebody misses a coaching call, we text each other, or we're on Slack and we're talking about, well, what did we miss this time? So
Yeah.
it's been really wonderful, and it has changed my career. It's changed my life, and I am so grateful that I saw the program when I did, because it was just like the perfect timing in my life. Was starting my business at the time that I enrolled. Pretty much, I had no idea what I was doing. I probably would have ended up on Upwork, charging $10 an hour because I
Right.
didn't know.
Yep.
And this program gives you a step-by-step method for how to build a business. And if you have never written a grant before in your life, it helps you figure that out too.
Mhm.
So you may need one piece more than the other. For me, I needed a lot of the business side of things, because I've never had a business class in my life. I
Mhm.
don't know anything about QuickBooks. I did, the legal, whatever, the insurance, all of these things that a successful business owner needs to understand to have a company. Um,
Mhm.
it has helped me figure all of those things out without, banging my head against the wall.
Yeah.
And it would have taken me a lot longer to get where I am now if I had not gone through those programs.
I love that. I love that so, and that's what I've been hearing a lot about the people of the mentorship. They've been talking about that. They're saying, I'm like, okay, what are the top things? And always one of them is it's the community. It's the people in that program. And it is a smaller, intimate program. Like you mentioned, you've been through the academy. The mentorship is the next level of growing your business, and it's a smaller group. And you guys really develop really deep relationships, like lifelong friendships in there, and colleagues and all of that. And I just find that so magical. And I just
And,
absolutely love
and
that.
people are so generous
Mhm.
with their time and their advice, and sharing, the truth about what's really happening in their business or their life, because um, I have a feeling that doesn't happen a lot in a lot of business kind of masterminds, because it's very competitive, very close to the
Or there's
chest.
shame. If I'm not making this much, what will people think of
Right.
me? Or if I'm making that much, am I, whatever, there's,
It's it,
and I'm always like,
it's
let's
not
talk
that way.
numbers, let's get comfortable. Like,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yep.
had never talked about money in my life with anyone because it's so discouraged. Like even
Mhm.
sometimes within the grant profession, talking about pricing and offers and things like that. But that's how you learn. And
Yeah,
with you've done such a great job at creating a culture of respect and vulnerability where I think people feel safe to share things and real challenges that they're going through, and knowing that it's all kept confidential, it's all in the group, and no one's going to judge you, and there are no dumb questions. I mean, I feel
exactly.
like I still,
Exactly.
with all my experience, I feel like I ask a lot of dumb questions all the time. That's okay, I
No.
don't really mind, but it's okay, right? It's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
No one's going
Any
to
question's a good
judge you
question,
for
right?
that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And usually, 90% of the other people had the same question. They just,
yeah.
or they didn't want to ask. So I'm not afraid to ask if I
I
don't
love
know
that.
something. But yeah, it's been great. And I really encourage people to consider giving it a try if they're interested at all in grant writing or being a consultant, working with nonprofits. It's been a great experience for me, and I'm really grateful.
Oh, I love it. I love being a part of your journey. Like it's been so fun to like, as you mentioned, you came from the
Yes.
academy, then you went into the mentorship and it was like, am I ready for this? I'm like, yes, now you're ready for that. And then you're like, I'm so glad I
Yes,
joined this. This is what I needed, right? At
I'm
this
so
point.
glad. I made
Yeah.
Holly. I've raised over 3.5 million for my clients in 18 months.
Great.
It's insane.
I love that so much.
It's
So much.
it's it's more than I raised in a previous fundraising job I had for 3 years. You know why?
Wow.
Because I could have the freedom and the autonomy to go out and do it.
Yes.
You
I
know,
love
um, so I love working for myself. It's life changing.
that.
I will never. I pray I will never go back to a regular office job working for anyone else as a result of being in this program and figuring out my business.
I love it.
That is my
And you've been able
why.
to make more for your clients as a result. That
Yes,
is like
and
so
have a
life
bigger
changing.
impact for my clients. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I can't wait as we continue to grow your business because now that you hired someone, and I remember helping you because we do the done for you job application and test projects and all of that. So we did that
I
for
used
that
it.
position. Yeah. So excited
Yep.
for that. So now that you hit go and you're doing that, I'm so excited for you because now, like you mentioned, your business is going to start to change a lot. Like you've been through, like, it keeps changing, right? And evolving. And now that you can serve even more clients, but not double your workload, right? And have that, like, I'm not hitting the wall and every client means I have to work so much, but you can keep growing that number, that 2.5, right? Even more and more and more, right? So like that you can keep getting,
Yes.
yeah, the results. So and training up, like I love how you mentioned too, you're excited to train a team to also learn grant writing, to also be a part of your legacy and what you're doing for your cause area. Like I think that's so exciting, Jenny. I'm really, yeah. Like
Me
that is
too.
the ripples are waves at this point. So that's so good. All right. So where can people find you? If they're looking, they're like, I want to know more about you. I'm interested in your experience in the mentorship, or hey, I want to hire you because I'm in education, I'm in youth, I'm in workforce development, and this sounds right up my alley, especially during these times. I need to find new grants. I need to know what's going on. I need to get my first grant, etc. Where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, or they can go to my business's webpage at lightmakergrants.com. Um, I have a Facebook page, but I don't use it as much as I do on LinkedIn. But if you contact me on LinkedIn, I will definitely return your message. Feel free to follow. I'm trying to be more active there and share different things,
Uh,
and
I
success
love your stuff on
stories
LinkedIn.
that my clients are having, which is always fun. So I would love to hear from people, and I'm happy to answer questions about the academy or the mentorship as well.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So definitely Like she's only got a couple slots open. You want to get in on them. So definitely, thank you for coming on the podcast. This has been so much
Thank
fun.
you.
And yeah, we'll see you back inside the mentorship. And yeah, keep being a part of your journey as you're growing. So I'm super excited and all of the things. So thank you so much again, Ginny.
All right. Thanks so much, Holly.
Yeah.